We got 15 minutes with Coach, and he's going to get back to work. We'll start here on the aisle with Jimmy Furman here.
Ryan, obviously a lot of moving parts still, but with the guys that are in the class, what is your overall sense of how this class came together? It seems like the last 2 months specifically was a whirlwind, and adding, 10 different commitments, and now most of them in, but where are you at with where it's at, and what do you still want to see addressed? Obviously, guys that are not signed, I know you can't talk.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, I felt like from the beginning on this that what we needed to do was, be really thorough on our evaluations and make sure that they were the right fit for our program, with everything considering where we are in college football and the investment that everybody's making in these young men. And so the first thing we look at certainly is their ability, their talent, their character, their family, academically, their mindset. There's all these things that we take into consideration. And this is a very talented group of young men. When you look at a lot of the positions, we have to address every position. Obviously up front is critical, and I think we've done a really good job there. I think Larry really finished strong here and really addressed some areas, and I think Tyler did an excellent job up front, and that was important. But just across the board, I think the secondary, you look at some of the guys that we're bringing in. I mean, very, very talented. And so when we looked at it even last spring, I think after the after the spring visits, that's always been sort of a time when a lot of guys have committed when they started to go with the official visits in the spring, and that's an important time. But we really wanted to evaluate their senior years to make sure that we had the right guys, and I feel like we do. And it's not about the ones that you don't get; it's about the ones you do get. Make sure you have the right guys here. I think we've done that with this group. We're still working through a few of these guys, but overall, it's an excellent group. These guys care about Ohio State. You can tell from the jump with a lot of these guys. They've been committed for a long time, or the guys that have jumped in recently are just really excited about what we're doing and are here for the right reasons. So it's a great class. It is certainly unique to be doing this right now, getting ready to play in a game. So to say that all of our focus is on this right now, it's not. But that being said, it's a great day for these guys. I mean, this is a point in their lives where it's one of those timeline moments, signing with Ohio State. And so, they're finishing high school careers, and a lot of guys are going to be here in the next month. And, being a dad and going through this with my son, man, I'm just happy for these families because it's a moment to, be thankful. Be thankful for not only for the people that invested in these guys, but be thankful to be in this position, to have this opportunity to be a part of something special.
Assistant coach, so I understand that maybe your perspective's different, but can you speak to just the overall difficulty that you guys are having when it comes to the transition period between one coach to the next? Not even talking about the news with Brian today, but we're going back to Caden Gebhardt, who is signed today with you guys, but wasn't really even mentioned over the last 8 months after the defensive coordinator change. Matt came in and had to come in late, and then Tyler coming in and having to trust evaluations from Justin when it comes to guys like Max and Sam, who you evaluated the first time 3 years ago. How much does that have the potential, do you think, to change things, and how challenging has that been to know that your program is being poached by a lot of people because you guys are successful?
Well, I say this, and Coach Meyer, Coach Tressel said this to me, when I took the job. This job is bigger than any one person. And so Ohio State's been good for a long time, will continue to be good moving forward. So, while there always will be these situations, for whatever reason, good or bad, we all aim for them to be good, that when we're doing well, people have opportunities. And that's part of it. And I think, these recruits understand that. So when they come in, the relationships matter, but they also want to see the stability of a program, that when they send their sons somewhere, they're going to be surrounded with the best. And that's my job. So my job is to surround these players with the best there possibly can be. And you've heard me say this before. I mean, if you are an O-line coach, it should be O-line you. If you're a linebacker coach, it should be a linebacker you, and it's my job as the head coach to make sure that we're hiring guys and bringing guys in here to be the best. And, I really work hard on that to make sure that when I look these families in the eye, I say, I'm going to take care of your son and do everything I can to surround them with, the best strength coach in America, Mick Marotti. And so when we have a change, you got to go out there and you got to get that done. I think, in particular, like you said, with Caden and all that, like, when Matt came in here, like, it was, we had a great run last year and Jim did a great job. So like, okay, well, who's coming in? And during that time, there's an unknown. And so in the end, it comes down to trust. Do you trust the fact that we're going to continue to bring in great people here? And now you can see how that's working. So that's the goal. And we say that in recruiting, that nothing's guaranteed. But this program is strong and will continue to be strong and has been strong. I mean, and it's bigger than any one person.
Oh, sorry. You said front row, I got confused. Ryan, with Brian moving to South Florida, is the intention that he will stay with the staff through the postseason?
We'll do a quick team meeting here and kind of let the team know. He was able to let the wide receivers know and the recruits know. And I'm really happy for he and his family. The fact that he gets an opportunity to do this. He's put a lot of hard work here at Ohio State as a player and now as a coach. And so that's part of the profession. And that's, as a head coach, it's gratifying to see one of your assistants get one of these opportunities. And I think he's going to do great. I think it's a great opportunity for him and looking forward to see how he does. And so that's exciting for him. The timing isn't great, but that's not Brian's fault. That's other people's fault. And hopefully we can get some of this stuff addressed because it's but it's like that for everybody in the country. So instead of being upset about it, we're going to embrace it. And I'll let the team know today. They obviously will read it today, but it's good to hear from me. But yeah, the plan is for him to continue to be with the team, which is a challenge for him, but that speaks to his character, that he wants to make sure he finishes this thing out the right way. We're certainly right now, I'm not going to be long in here because we got to focus on Indiana, making sure we're ready situationally, have a great practice, and go play this game on Saturday. And then, over that next month, we'll figure out what that cadence looks like. But he wants to be with us all the way through, all the way to the end, and see this thing out during the season. So it'll be a busy month for him, but it's been done before, and we'll help him along the way.
To take on any additional play calling experience because of everything that's not going to be on his plate?
Yeah, we're going to look at that and see how that all works. It's all happened really fast. I think that's probably been the biggest challenge, for Brian, for all of us, is just this really happened very, very quickly. So the good news is we have great people. We'll have a plan. We'll be able to move quickly, and the goal is for us, for the players, not to be distracted and just focus on what's important, and make sure we put a good plan together, make sure we get the stuff in clean. But we do have good people, and Brian's going to do everything he can to make sure he's doing what's right for the offense.
With Blaine specifically, I mean, perception when you land a guy from Baton Rouge that's like right next to LSU, there's a lot of like, oh, he'll eventually flip, or there'll be issues to hold on to him. I mean, he only ever visited you guys. What's it say about him as a person and what all the work that Matt did to kind of get him in the class?
Unbelievable. I can't tell you how excited I am. I'm sensitive to just start talking about one or two guys, but when you ask me specifically about somebody, then I'll certainly comment on them because I don't want to short anybody on a day like today. But we only have so much time. He's been amazing from the jump. I think he's a tremendous player. I think he has tremendous ability, but I also think he has leadership skills. He's got that look in his eye, that quiet confidence. Reminds me of some guys that we have back there right now, and I think he's going to have an impact day one when he gets in.
You can call him a recruiting guy, that's fine.
Brian, if everything goes according to plan, you're supposed to sign 28 guys today, which is a little bit larger of a class than usual. With the expanded roster limits, is that probably the norm going forward for Ohio State, or is this particular class just kind of how things unfold?
Yeah, not to get into the weeds on it, but certainly we have this, the transfer portal window coming up. And then the way that it's set right now, it's really only one portal window. And so we need to know what our roster is by the time the transfer portal closes. And then, if we continue to play in the playoffs, the transfer portal can still be open after we're done playing, which really puts us in a tough spot, and whoever's in that situation. So we have to plan accordingly the best we can and predict and forecast what it's going to look like. And so looking at what we needed here coming out of this class, these were the guys that we felt like really fortified us moving forward. And then we got to figure out, how we address some needs in the portal where appropriate. And then go from there, because we're not going to have the spring portal to fill in these holes. And it's a challenge. I'm not going to get into that right now, but this was the number that we were looking for right here.
And then when specifically did Brian inform you he had an opportunity, and how did you kind of communicate to the wide receiver commits that you have about what was happening?
Yeah, it all really kind of happened in the last day, and I'll let you. I don't want to talk for him, but it's all happened very, very fast, and so we had to communicate quickly, but he's handled everything the right way.
We got time for 2 more. Andrew Gillis?
Brian, first year on the job, how would you evaluate Tyler Bowen's job recruiting? I think this is his last 4 or 5 years that you guys brought in on the
Thorough, constantly is bringing guys in on campus. Mark will tell you, when we have a game or a visit, there's 8, 9, 10 offensive linemen, and they're big dudes when they walk in. I mean, they're good-looking guys, and he's got a deep list. He connects well. I think for an offensive line coach, he has a great combination of the ability to coach technique. He's got toughness. He's a former offensive lineman, but he also has an unbelievable job of connecting, and he sees things from a wider lens. I think he's got a lot of talent, and I think that the guys in that room really believe in what he's doing. You can see the connection already with the recruits coming in, so I think he's off to a great start.
You mentioned the changing roster size and all this stuff like that. With a kid like Braxton that you guys brought in defensively, that's a body type that there's not a lot of. Is that an increased emphasis for you guys, and maybe being able to take more kids like that you can look at and say, hey, we don't have this type of player on our roster?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I think when Matt sees a body like that, his eyes light up, because I think he starts to project him in different roles, and I think James and all the guys over there, Larry and Matt and Tim, they're trying to find as many versatile guys as they can, and this is one right here. And he came up with his family and visited, and this is a big, long body type that we feel like can really grow into a versatile athlete. And he saw what this was all about and wanted to jump in. So excited to have him part of this class.
Right. You talk about the guys, the expectation of being wide receiver you, linebacker you. Can you speak a little bit on James and what he's meant to, not just the recruiting acumen that he clearly has, but what he's done in the room, and now the ability to grow on that with guys like Sincere and CJ and Braxton?
Yeah, it's a good group. James does a great job of communicating. I think you guys have seen that, when he played, and even when he was doing radio and TV, and even now when he gets in front of the group, he just really communicates well and can, really crystallize a message and a thought in a special way, in my opinion. But he also has the credibility, the toughness. He connects well with the guys. He's intelligent. He's really, in a short period of time, turned into a good coach in a lot of different ways. And recruiting's a big part of it. He recognizes the guys that he wants. He goes and gets them. He's honest with them. It's not Disneyland recruiting. I think he's straight with them. They know what they're going to get when they get here, and he treats them like they're going to be like he was during recruiting. That's just the way he handles his business, and certainly he's a Buckeye that we all can be proud of.
Like a couple years ago when you hired Jim and then Chip, and then even with the hiring of Matt, that there was an idea that maybe the coordinator doesn't need to be an everyday, all-day recruiter guy going out there and being involved because you have guys like Brian and James around. Is there any change in philosophy for you, or any attempt with a guy like Matt, who I think you would like to be a part of the DNA of this program for a while? To get him more involved in that and being more of the front-facing side of the defense recruiting?
Well, I think that he's definitely done a great job of that. I think he's connected with these guys in a short period of time. It's easy to see the type of personality he has. He has the credibility, and I think it's important for recruits to know that like we see today, when an assistant coach were to leave, you still have somebody who's running the defense. You still have a head coach who's running the program, and that's very, very important along the way. And so, it's group recruiting. And you can see, and something we really sell is our stability, and the continuity of our staff and the type of people that are here, whether it's Mick or Mark, or the assistant coaches, the staff, all of that matters. And so it's great when recruits get to spend time with those guys to recognize that it's more than just a relationship with a single person.
Coach, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.